Bridgette. Welcome to Sunday Morning Coffee with Bridgette. I have no idea how my sound is going to be. This is a live stream and I got up this morning. It feels it's early here. It's Sunday morning and I am in a suburb of Seattle. Actually, I'm not really in a suburb. I'm like 10 minutes from Seattle in a different city, in an adjacent city. That is a very bustling place. And so this morning I walked 2 blocks and got some Starbucks. You may have seen on Above Life channel that I shared a small video of me visiting Pike's Place yesterday. It's down by the pier and it's the place that you've seen them throw fish in documentaries and stuff. And right in Seattle. And I went there yesterday on Saturday and went to the original Starbucks location. So, I mean, it's everywhere here. Starbucks is everywhere. So, walked for my Starbucks this morning. I did a live stream walk on Bridgette Inspired Instagram. So you can do that early Sunday morning walk with me if you want to do that. It's not very long because I was like, wait, I think I'm in the wrong place because there's like 2 Starbucks within 2 blocks of her place. And I went to the wrong one, or the one I wasn't thinking I was going to. But that's on Bridgette Inspired on my Instagram. So I'm going to wait a little bit to see if you guys all pop in here. My Starbucks drink is a caramel macchiato this morning with an extra pump of vanilla. That's what I chose to have. I also actually have tea. So I'm kind of back and forth between my tea and just a basic tea this morning, early this morning when I woke up because I'm so screwed up on the time zones. So now I'm in Pacific time. And so I'm on the West Coast, right? And so from where I live in Central time, it's 2 hours behind. So, hi Tucker. So when I woke up this morning and it was like, I think actually it was later today. It was almost 6 o'clock when I woke up because I went to bed late last night. And 6 o'clock this time, Pacific time, which would have been like 8 o'clock my time, which is very, very late for me. And so for my friends on the East Coast, it's like 3 hours time zone difference. And it's really messing with me. The 2 hours alone is already messing with me. So I'm just trying to catch up now. So I've been driving. Let me give you a backstory before we talk about our topic today. The topic is, it's the drive. Like Miley Cyrus, you know, her song, The Climb. Do you remember that? Google it. If you don't know it, if you're not a fan, it's okay. It's The Climb. And the climb, right? Climb. And that's what I feel like with the drive. It's the drive. That's how it feels. Hey, I see some of you guys popping in here. Let me know if you can hear my audio okay, because I'm using this. And I want to make sure you can use it. Otherwise, I will pop this out and just use the actual phone. Is the audio okay? Can you let me know? Let me do that. So our topic today is It's the Drive for Sunday Morning Coffee with Bridgette. And right now I'm in my sister's new apartment. And my niece came. I'm going to tell you the story. So we left on Sunday morning at 6 a.m. from the Midwest. Thank you. From Minnesota. And on Wednesday morning on the 2nd of March. And we started to drive with a U-Haul and a Honda Accord. Now, you have heard me mention, if you watch me for a while, on Fairy Grasshopper, my YouTube channel, that I don't like to drive. Me, Bridgette, not a driver, not a rider either. And you know why I'm not a rider? Because motion sickness. And if you are an empath or have energy awareness, you will find that you may get motion sickness or what feels like motion sickness when actually it's energetic sickness. However, This quite clearly was both double layered. I got a double layer Oreo cookie with not the good stuff in between on this experience that I had in the drive. Took us 3 days to get to our destination. The first day we drove about 14 hours. I drove the car almost the entire time except for the last hour and a half. I had some great time by myself in the car where I listened to audiobooks. I had so much fun with my niece who came with us. So it was my sister, my niece, and I. And my niece is 26, so she's not no little kid. And she's just got such a cool personality. She has just this great view of the world. She's very creative, but she's smart and can just figure things out. She's got a great kind of personality, like laid back, but also fun. And she and I had some fun times in the car because she kind of was, my sister really wanted to make sure she drove the U-Haul because we went through mountain passes, okay? We drove through Minnesota, through North Dakota, the entire state of North Dakota on Wednesday. 14 hours later, we arrived in Billings, Montana. We went into and stayed the night in Montana on Wednesday night. Yes, that is correct. I drove from Minnesota to Billings, Montana. I drove all of it except for an hour and a half. And I can't believe it because I am not a driver. But I didn't want to ride because in Montana, it is scary. The mountains are scary. The roads are narrow and it's all like this for hours. It's crazy. It's just, oh my gosh. But it's the most beautiful place I've ever been. I got my Montana shirt on. I would go back to Montana in a heartbeat. It was beautiful there. It was gorgeous. I'm not a skier, but I know they have mountains, obviously. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I don't know how my sister, my little sister, by the way, I'm the oldest of 3 kids. My little sister, she's only like a year and a half younger than me. She's not tiny. She's not little, like 10 years. She's like a year and a half. But she is badass. Like, she's driving this freaking U-Haul through these mountain passes, and I could barely keep up with her. In the Honda Accord, that is like a 2020 or 2019 vehicle, and it is awesome to drive, easy to drive, and I'm like, oh yeah, oh, ah. Of course, the heights thing I have an issue with, and I discovered that. I've known that about myself, but I didn't know it would affect me driving. But it does, apparently. So we stayed overnight in Billings, Montana. It was cool. Apparently they have this stuff called huckleberry. It's like a flavoring. It's kind of like a combination of blueberry grape kind of vibe. We stopped at this one place, I can't remember the name of it, where I got this shirt. I can't remember the name of it. It was such a cool place. Such a cool place. I cannot think of the name of it. We were on I-90. We were on 90. Just if anybody knows it, it's in Montana on 90. It's like this big, you don't think it's like this big fabulous place, but there's this big fabulous place inside. Like gift shop galore, but not trinkety stuff, like really nice stuff. Like I got this great shirt, you guys. This great shirt. It says Montana on it. And the back has a thing too. Let me show you the back. Let me show you the back. Okay, wait. Let me show you the back. Whoop. Jeez. Sorry. Oops, just a minute. Just a minute. Just. Sorry. I'm back. Let me see. Did I screw this up? I'm upside down. Just a minute. Just a minute. God. This is like the story of my experience. So I get up thinking I'm not attached. I'm going to show you the back. And now I'm not attached. Scared the crap out of the dogs. I'm going to do this anyway. Look at this shirt, you guys. Look at this shirt. You see it? I don't need to pull this up here. Let's pull this down. There we go. See it? You see it? Montana. Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay, that's basically the experience I've had. Elevations mess with your energy and give you headaches, and driving for several hours, just staring at the road, gives you a weird effect that I did not expect. So we went to the cool place. Okay, so I scared the crap out of Tucker. Here's Tucker. This is one of my sister's dogs. Smile for the people. You sweet boy. This is Tucker, he's 7. I don't know what kind of dog. He's a poodle something. He's tiny. Look at how handsome Tucker is. Tuck, Tuck. Look, smile for the people. Isn't he cute? He's so cute. Okay. There's another dog, a Maltese mix, that is laying next to me. He is, I'm very tired. He's Max. He's very, very, very old. Max is the one, he's a white Maltese. You've probably seen him in pictures on Instagram. I did document my drive and my experiences, the scenic stuff on Instagram when I could. And Max rode with me in the car. So when I was flying solo, let me just read this to make sure I can. Oh, hi. All right. I just want to make sure. Can you hear me okay? Because I had to plug this back in after I knocked you guys over. Sorry. I'm clumsy like that. So we traveled with the 2 dogs too. Did I fail to mention that? Yeah, 2 dogs. So my sister, badass as she is, was driving this freaking U-Haul through these passes and stuff. So we stopped at this great place. My niece Googled and found saw this cool place where she wanted to try a huckleberry shake or something, or huckleberry ice cream or something. So we stopped there and it was cool. I loved the place. Beautiful art inside, like cool art, very eclectic, and just not eclectic, isn't the word, but what are you doing? You see the dog? See him? And it's just been such a drive. It's not about the destination. Sometimes you learn the most on the drive, right? And we were just so focused trying to get here, and it was hard. And it's stressful because literally, I'm going to tell you the story about that after, but it's the drive. Let's focus on the drive. That's what Sunday Morning Coffee is about, right, today. And we stopped in Montana. Then we stayed overnight in Billings. And then the next day, on Thursday, we ended up driving crazy mountain passes again. I'm like, oh my God. And then it started to snow, lightly snow, and then kind of rainy snow. And then we passed into, Montana was the most beautiful state, you guys. I listened to a book on audio. I told you that. I talked on the phone a little bit, and I had a riding buddy. My niece usually was the one. My sister and I rode together a little bit the first night for like an hour, 2 hours. 2 hours maybe, I think. And that was it. And she drove. And that was the only time I rode the entire trip. I drove the whole way, which was great for me because I'm motion sick. And I was already messed up. Like by the time we got to Billings, Montana, I was just like, what? So tired. So I slept. We all slept. And then we got up early the next day and headed out right away. And then driving and curvy were swervy. And it was like stressful driving. And the worst of it, I think, was the second day between Montana, Idaho, and into Washington, because we pushed and stayed at a place called Moses Lake. And we stayed there in Washington, so it was only like a 2.5, 3 hour drive to her location after that the next morning. And then we were going to meet the movers, and we were going to move stuff and whatever at her place. And so they were going to help unload and all that. And so we were driving on Thursday, and again, it started out, I was totally content driving by myself and on my own because I didn't want to drive the U-Haul. That was my thing. I told her, I said, I'm not driving a U-Haul. Because when I signed up to help her move, there was no U-Haul involved. And I'm like, yeah, I thought it was just doing a road trip. Turns out that this was a better way for me, because if I was doing a road trip with my sister, she would be driving and I would be car sick, just because I get motion sick. And if we were whipping around oh my God, she's driving like 70, 80 in a U-Haul. I'm like, oh. So it's a good thing I was driving a car and I was solo and I had like control over my environment a little bit. That was really good. And I just had Max. He was in the back seat filled with pillows and blankets. And he just chilled. He slept like most of the time anyway. And when he was kind of uncomfortable, I'd call my sister and say, hey, and then we'd stop anyway. We were stopping because they had Tucker, this little one, in the U-Haul, because he needs to be by my sister because he's like really attached to her. So they were driving the U-Haul, my sister and my niece, and then they switched out driving. And then sometimes my niece drove with me, but my sister always was in the U-Haul, and it's uncomfortable in the U-Haul if you've ever done that. I didn't have to ride in it, which is good. I guess it's noisy, bumpy, and the seats really suck. And there was no cruise control in the U-Haul. No cruise control. So my sister, she said it was tough to get used to that. So by the second day when we stopped in Moses Lake, I was all kinds of messed up, like mentally, my body, from not moving. I hadn't walked. I had been sitting for 11 hours. We took a couple stops. We probably stopped twice that whole time, but we do 3-hour chunks, and we stopped to go to the bathroom or whatever. But 3-hour chunks was our goal, trying to do 3-hour chunks. Sometimes it didn't work out because we had to go to the bathroom, or the dogs did, but otherwise 3-hour chunks, boom, 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 and man, I can't believe that I did that. And then so we got there, and I was like, okay, I can totally do the next morning, 3 hours, no problem, I can do it. I didn't know that was going to be the most treacherous as far as like heights wise and guardrails and oh my God. But the roads were way better. By far the worst roads were in Idaho. And the weather was crappy. It was rainy, it was slippery, it was like then snowy. It was beautiful. Oh my gosh, the land's beautiful. Beautiful scenery, but I really felt like it was very private. The road that I was on, it almost felt like Idaho's vibe was kind of private, and like there's only parts of you I'm going to let you see. Montana was like big heart, is what it felt like, big heart. And I felt like when I was driving in the mountains in Montana, oh my God, I have never felt so close to God in my life that I felt there. I felt so good in Montana. I did not expect that at all. I thought Seattle, Washington would be more my vibe, but I literally felt like I was inside. There were points when it was open, but there were mountains, and I felt like the mountains, and they were farther away and then close by and farther away. And it was like they gave me space and room to breathe, but they protected me. They were like warriors or bouncers, guards or guardians, that's a better way, around the edges. And then I felt like low in the belly. And it's probably too because like in the belly of the mother, in the womb of the divine mother of earth, I felt that there. And it's probably also because I was listening to The Alchemist. That's the book I listened to, the entire book, and 1.5 times. On audio, I listen to podcasts and stuff too. That's why I listened to it like 1.5 times. And it was just, and so it's probably that too, very philosophical kind of, but it was just so beautiful. And I couldn't think of a better combo. It was the coolest thing. And I spent a lot of time by myself in the car during that leg of the journey. And it was just really beautiful for me. And so when we got to Moses Lake in Washington State, I was just all kinds of messed up. I'd never driven that far in my life, 2 days in a row, like well over 10-hour days, both days. And I just was like, again, I'm glad that I drove by myself. And like I drove the whole way. I'm glad that I drove most of the way, except for like 2 hours, because I needed that. I needed that feeling of kind of control, that feeling of choices, that feeling of not car sickness. And I still got car sick. I was so car sick, or so sick. When we stopped in Moses Lake, I did not know which end was up. I felt like I had been on a cruise ship that was going through a hurricane. I was so motion sick because of all the roads and the stress and the ups and downs and the left and right and the elevation change. Oh my gosh, I never felt so sick. I was so sick. I was sick for hours. I kept feeling like I was moving. I felt like I was moving. And so it was just, that was so much on my body. I had no idea. I've never experienced that before, but I've never done long drives like that. I mean, it's been years. I mean, the last time I did a drive like this, I was with the same 2 people. My niece was like 2 or 3 years old, and my sister was just moving from Minnesota down to Mississippi. So we went south to Mississippi to be with her husband, her new husband at the time, because he was in the military and he was stationed there in Biloxi, Mississippi. or Gulfport. Yeah, it was Gulfport. And so we did that drive and with the same people. We didn't have a U-Haul though. We just packed the car and drove. And so there's that. And then now this experience, but this experience way different and way older and very psychic this time for me. And so it was there's so many pieces here that are so profound if I think about it. But my physical body could not handle it. Like if it was up to me, there's no way I would have been driving. I would have stopped. I would have slept somewhere. I would have taken at least 3 days, probably 3 days to get here. That would have been way better for me, but I wasn't on my timeline. It wasn't about my time. I was just there to support my sister. So I had to do whatever she needed to do, you know? And we had to get there. We had a time frame, a deadline. So we got here. So the next morning, I was so sick though that I got my own hotel room and I just laid in quiet. I couldn't even sleep because I was so motion sick and I had to take half a Dramamine to sleep. That's how bad it was. Like I was so not feeling good. I just needed my own space. I needed not to be moving. It was really tough for my physical body. I'm so sensitive. And I knew I was, but I didn't realize how much still. I thought, oh, it's no big deal. It's a big deal. So it's the drive for sure. So then last morning, woke up, got up and headed out and arrived here and I was sick. I was still sick. I was sick when I got in the car in the morning. I was sick when I wasn't as bad, but I was still sick. And it's weird when you know you're driving and you have to take a Dramamine. It's so weird and you're tired and it's a crazy time. I never felt like I was going to fall asleep though. Never did that. I had a lot of coffee to keep me awake. Every time we stopped, I'm like, coffee, I need coffee. But yeah, I was so sick that when we got here, I had such a bad headache and motion sick. My whole body was rebelling against me that I laid on this hard concrete floor and laid with the dogs running around while my sister and my niece were loading and unloading some of the boxes from the U-Haul, the fragile stuff before the movers came because I was so sick. And then I just looked at my sister. She's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying. Like I'm dying right now that if I was at home, I would be locked in my bedroom for at least 2 days. I am so sick right now. I'm very sick. But there's stuff has to get done. So they're just doing it. And I'm literally laying on the floor on a pillow, the dog's pillow, with the dogs running around me going, oh yeah, trying not to let the dogs run out the door every time they opened it. It was like hell. I never want to be in that situation again. I thought I was going to die. I wanted to die. It's such a bad headache, you guys. Like bad headache. It wasn't a migraine. It was like a travel headache thing. Like my neck it was awful. I know I'm complaining and venting. But it was bad. I've never felt, and I've been pregnant where I've been so nauseated and morning sick. This was not that. I have been seasick on a boat during a hurricane. This was not that. I have been car sick before on trips. This was not that. It was all of these things combined into one cocktail. And when I stopped moving physically, I couldn't even, I looked weird. I couldn't stand up. I felt dizzy. I felt super lightheaded. And apparently the elevation thing really affects me. I've been to Colorado before. And I know how the oxygen and stuff definitely affects me. It took me about 2 days to get used to it there when I was in Denver for a conference years ago, like 7 years ago. And I knew that would affect me, but I didn't realize how much it would affect me on top of all this other. I was so sick, you guys, for a couple of hours. And then finally, all of a sudden, I'm like, it must have been probably 3 hours later. I'm like, okay, now I feel like a human. Now I feel like I can try to help. Because I couldn't even put words together. Stuff did not make sense in my mind. It almost felt like maybe what you feel like when you have a stroke or something. Like I just couldn't, my mind wasn't working. It was crazy. And I felt bad because I couldn't help the two of them move. And they were obviously stressed and frustrated because, it's a very stressful scenario. And I would look at them and I'm like, you don't understand. I can't even move right now. So we had movers and they helped, and then eventually I felt better. And then in the afternoon on Friday, I was actually able to meet a friend from British Columbia. She drove down. We met, had dinner, And it was amazing. So it like changed everything for me. It helped me remember like my eye on the prize. Like I knew we were going to be able to meet up. There was a strong likelihood I'd be able to see her. I've never met her. It's been 8 years. We've been such good friends. She's such a close person in my life. She's been so helpful for me in all the stuff I've been going through this last year. And before that, for years, just somebody I could always reach out to if I hadn't talked to her for 2 months, and we just pick up right where we left off and supported each other. We've supported each other professionally. We've coached each other. We've received each other's healing services. We've been friends. We just are, she's just very important to me. And I got to meet her. It was awesome. It was the best. Like, I feel emotional. It was the best. It was the best. A beautiful, beautiful gift. So it's great. Some of you know her too. I'm not going to say her name because I'm like, if you're in the priestess or divine feminine world, connected to like priestess presence or Rosa Mystica temples or anything like that, you know her. You totally will know her. So, but our friendship is our personal private friendship, and I don't want it to be like this like professional connection thing. I just want it to be our friendship, you know. So anyway, that's a long story. I've been talking for a long time, you guys. Sorry. Is this boring? I hope this isn't boring. So the driving piece. So I'm going to tell you what I learned from driving. Let me just check. You guys are. Let me just read this. Read your comments. I'm doing this live, you guys. It is Sunday morning. Yeah, chilling. So here's an emotional piece, right? It's the drive, the journey, right? We hear that all the time. It's about the journey. Life is about the journey, not the destination. Well, we're in such a hurry to get to the destination sometimes. Like, he's so funny. He's like listening to all the new songs. We're in such a hurry to get to the destination sometimes that we totally are amiss about the journey or disrespect it. Let me tell you, I was respecting the effing, I want to swear so bad. I want to respect the effing journey. Oh my God, the drive, respect the drive. This can be used in a lot of different ways. So the title of this Sunday morning coffee is The Drive, my personal story, and the drive. So the drive within us, what motivates us? What's the vehicle that's carrying us from one place to another? There's so many layers that we could talk about, pieces here, so let's talk, right? The drive, the journey. There are things I would like to do different. There are things I knew embarking on it that it was going to be challenging and stressful because of how it was set up. This happened fast in the last 2 weeks. My sister got a job offer. She was one of those COVID casualties, right? She had a very high level job at an airline and was let loose, set free from that. And so then had to kind of figure things out. And as a single woman, it's like, it's all her. Her household is her, you know, and she has 2 like college age kids, but they're still starting out, especially her youngest is still just starting out. And so she's helping her youngest, you know, emotionally and co-signing student loan, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because her youngest is also getting her master's and stuff. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff. And she just got engaged. And so there's a lot, right? So 2 weeks, she got the job. It was probably 10 days that she flew out to Seattle, looked around for a place to live, found a place. Magically, this exact apartment opened up, which is actually, it's like a studio. It's not technically a 1-bedroom, but it's set up like a 1-bedroom. It just doesn't have like the slider doors or anything. And so they can't call it that. So it's a totally more affordable, and it's a beautiful view. Like, you've seen it, and I can post a picture just looking out. I don't want to like reveal too much about her private life or where she's at, but beautiful views. And it's a corner unit. It's like gorgeous. It's plenty for her as a one person with 2 little dogs, plenty. Plus she's really close to so many amenities and things like walking distance, everything, like right across the street, food everywhere. It's the coolest place. It's totally walkable. Everything's walkable, which is great. And it feels really safe. It's a safe area and lots of security in the building and stuff. So it's good. But 2 weeks, not even like 9 or 10 days, she had to move. And so she had to coordinate everything and figure everything out and pack her entire life and decide what she was going to do with the dogs. And there's all sorts of things moving from state to state. And she had to make sure that the dogs were licensed. And then she had to make sure that she had her deposits down, and she had to coordinate the movers. And she had so much to do in a short amount of time. And I'm like, of course I offered right away to help her. I'm like, of course I'll help you. If you're going to take this job, I'll help you move. I'll drive with you. But I didn't know it was going to be a whole thing. I thought she was going to have them over, moving company, or do a pod or something, but that's not. It was expensive to do that. And she's like, no, I want my stuff, which I totally get that. Like, I want my stuff too. She wanted to feel home because we arrived here on Friday and she starts work on Monday. So my niece is going to fly back today on Sunday. And that's sad. It's really hard. So I told my sister this morning, go, and I walked to Starbucks. I already did that. I got my Starbucks this morning. And I had plenty of tea this morning too before I had Starbucks. And I said to her, you two go, just go have lunch or go hang out, do whatever you need to do together. Just spend time together, because it's really sad. My sister's really close with her kids. She was a single mom forever. And they all live by each other, and they're really tight, and they're constantly FaceTiming, even when they lived by each other. I mean, so she's got a really good bond with her kids, but now it's her opportunity for her life to enjoy the drive, the experience of learning what's next on this adventure. It's totally an adventure. And my niece kept saying that, this is an adventure. And I said, yeah. My niece and I went to go get some sushi and like poke bowls and last night, and my sister just chilled with the dogs, just kind of by herself, had some time to kind of think about energy here by herself, which is good because she hadn't had that yet. So she did that. We left and walked and got food and brought it back. And we were walking, we were talking about how this is like a hard time for my sister, for sure. It's a hard time for her kids, her family, to have the separation, but it's also a perfect time for growth, and it's a safe way for all of them to experience life in a new way now. Because like my sister, she gets this opportunity to have her life as this independent career woman, which she's always been, but adult person with her own life. Like I want her to meet people and make friends and have a fun freaking life, because she had her kids young, and she really has never been lived on her own aside from now. She has a house and like a townhouse and stuff, but her kids, for the most part, have always lived with her. Even when they were at college, they come home and visit, and they live with her when they're moving home and all that, so she's always been home based. So she's never really just had her own space that's just hers, and her own life that's just hers. And I know for a lot of people that's really scary, but it's also this incredible, brilliant, beautiful time for her to grow and expand. And I think there's places in your life and my life that we want that too, and need that. And I'm sure she's having tons of mixed feelings, because I can feel it. And I'm an empath and I'm a psychic person, and I'm literally like, her room is right here, and I can hear the TV, and it's like a pass-through kind of apartment. It's a long, skinny apartment, and it's like an efficiency, but it's not. It's like a studio, but it's not. It's different. It's kind of weird, hard to describe it. It kind of reminds me of an apartment in New York. The way it's set up, it's kind of different, but it's great. It feels really good energetically. It feels great for her. It feels great for me, but there's a lot of mixed energy here. And her and my niece were sleeping in that other room, and I was sleeping on the couch here. And I can feel all the turning over, the churning of the soil, and it's a lot. And so for you and I, the drive, it's not about forcing or pushing change. It's about allowing it, and allowing life to mess with us, because it messed with me. I was so sick, and I'm like, no, this isn't the time. I want to help. I can help. I'm strong. I got big muscles. I can do this. I can do that. But I had hit the wall so hard, and totally was putting other people's needs or demands, or the situation's demands, above my own, over and over and over again for like a couple of days. Because I was just stopping when they needed to stop, unless I really had to go to the bathroom, then I would say something. So, because I really wanted to respect that I wasn't the one that started us out on this journey, and I wanted to stay in someone else's I wanted to stay in the wake of the boat when I was driving behind that U-Haul. You know what I mean? I wanted to really stay. I didn't want to have to worry about me at all. I just wanted to kind of hold up the caboose, you know? But that kind of pressure for me was way too much based upon what we were already dealing with my big kids, my 3 big kids, their dad just having his chemo last week for the first time. And then yesterday, after being here for a day, got word that their dog died at their dad's house, which they knew the dog was kind of sick and stuff, but they thought he'd have a couple months to live. And he died yesterday, so that was a thing. And that's a whole story. But anyway, there's been a lot for me. I have a lot of pressure. And I have a kid that doesn't want to go to school. And then my big kid that lives with me is his dad's caregiver. And he has a lot of stress and pressure. And there's a lot of stuff, you guys. I have a lot of stuff. So I felt really bad, guilty. I felt guilty for leaving my family during that time. But I also needed, my sister's also my family. And I have to help her too. Like, I was so pulled, right? So then when I went on this journey, I was like, okay, I got to be there for her, got to be there for her. And I didn't realize that part of the drive was the experience for me. And so I began to start to see, as I was thinking about this drive and the boring straight land of North Dakota, the entire freaking state driving through, that I needed to like carpe diem, like seize this day and make some choices in this process while the drive is happening, while the journey is unfolding. I needed to make some conscious choices in this process to support me. So I kept my anointing oils out in my little bag so that I could grab them in my passenger seat. So I had them with me, and I actually anointed at one of the rest stops because I was like, it was hard. I used my honor oil. This is Emerald Temple Honor Oil. It's beautiful. It smells so good. Actually, I love it. I love it so much. It's very solar plexus. I also had my Rosa Mystica oil that I used, and I used my priestessing oil, again, Emerald Temple, Diana Duboro. I also used my sacred oil that I have, which is Blue Lotus. And I'm trying to find the priestessing oil, and I don't see it, so I know it's in here. But so I did that, and then I also turned on The Alchemist, the book. That was the only, and I actually had The Alchemist and the Atlas of the Heart, which I started to listen to parts of Atlas of the Heart, Brene Brown, the new one, but it was so much in my brain, I could not handle it. The Alchemist was brilliant for me. I had never read that book. I know it's going to surprise many of you. I had never read it. It was great. It was so perfect, and it was so cathartic during that experience. And then the mountains in Montana, when I got in there, you guys, I got to tell you, I never felt so good in my life. So good. I felt so good with the mountains. I didn't think I would because I liked the ocean. I've been to both coasts and the ocean and stuff, and the Gulf of Mexico and stuff like that. And I've even been to the Caribbean, you know, the Western Caribbean, and beautiful waters. Love the water. But I just love those mountains. And I've been to the desert too in California, deserty California area. But this was something I'm never going to forget. Mama Montana. That's how it feels to me. Mama Montana. Montana feels very androgynous, both masculine and feminine energies. That's what it feels like to be there. Like when I was down in some of those beautiful mountains and there was water and greenery and farms in between. And it wasn't crowded or cramped or like some of the other places like that you go through in the mountains and like stuff like Boise, like I said, or not Boise, did not go through Boise, but Idaho felt very like protective and private and just here's different parts of me. I'm all going to show you different pieces till I know you. And then I'm going to let you in. Like very only the people who know, only the locals can be here kind of vibe. And so it felt very different. In fairness, though, it was rainy, it was slippery, it was cold, it was scary roads and lots of potholes. Oh my gosh. I don't know how that U-Haul did not seriously, and my sister is like either psycho or incredibly strong. She's probably a little bit of both. We're probably both crazy and strong. Yeah, we probably a little bit both, but I'm like, damn, she's badass. Anyway, I should get her a bumper sticker that says that. Wouldn't that be funny? I should get her a little sticker to say, hey, you badass. Like, I made it. I survived the trip from here to here to here. We should get t-shirts made. I survived the drive. I survived the drive. Hey, that would be a good merch for me. I survived the drive. A great metaphor for life, right? Yeah. Sure has been something, you guys. Let me just tell you. Sure has been something. Now I feel mellow and chill today because I'm by myself. I'm used to having alone time, and I only meditated like twice, two or three, twice. Once in the hotel room, no, twice in the hotel room when I was alone, and then once here yesterday morning I had to, and then now I just have this alone time, so I'm talking to you, which is great. I should probably just chill and journal, which I'm going to do next. So it's the drive. Not the force of the change, but what you do with the processes and the places you find yourself in, what to do with the energy that's around you, and to acknowledge your energy. You don't have to try to make yourself fit somewhere. You have to understand what this somewhere has for you. That's a gift. What it can give to you, what it can breathe into you or whisper to you. And when I think about Montana, I'm thinking about that. Because when we came into Washington State, it didn't really do anything for me. It really didn't. And I've been here before. I've been to Seattle. Again, I'm visiting my sister. When her husband was stationed here, at one point, I'd been to Seattle a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, I think, to visit her, probably 3. And so I've been here. I've been to Pike's Place. I've been downtown Seattle. You know, that was in like the, late 90s probably? I think late 90s, yeah. Yeah, late 90s, yeah. And so I've been here, and I like it. It's fine. It's pretty, and the gloominess doesn't even really bother me that much. It's like the pressury stuff, though. The foggy stuff is like kind of messes with me a little bit. I think it's pretty. The mountains are pretty. The trees are pretty, but the foliage and the way it looks, the greenery looks like Duluth, Minnesota to me. It looks like up north in Minnesota. It looks like this. It's gorgeous, except we have way more birch trees. That's what I would say. And it's beautiful. It looks like that. It looks like this, so it's not that different. And I'm not a skier, so I don't need to go to the mountains or anything. But the drive in here, I mean, it was pretty. It was really pretty because we stopped in an overlook. I have that on Bridgette Inspired on my Instagram. Stopped in an overlook, and I got to do like a video for you and pictures and stuff. It was pretty, but it was like the guardrail is like, oh, and then there's semis like right next to you, and they're like squishing you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I do not want to do that again. No, thank you. Once is enough. Check that box. I would drive to Montana again. That was awesome. I would totally do that. I would totally do that kind of thing by myself. I seriously would. I would totally do it. I think I need hiking boots too. I'm thinking that because there's so many beautiful places now that have mountains that I would like to climb on to, not like mountain climb, but do trails and stuff. And I don't do that. And in Minnesota, we have river bluffs and things like that. And I could totally do that there. And I just never have. And I'm thinking I want to try that. I want to start doing that. I don't even have hiking boots or anything. I mean, I don't. Trail shoes, I think I need that for sure. Yeah. So thank you so much for hanging in with this Sunday morning coffee with Bridgette. I know it's a long one. I really love talking to you guys. You guys are therapeutic for me as well. Thank you for joining me on Sunday, March 6th, 2022 from, I'm going to say near about Seattle, Washington. I just want to take a peek and see. I can see some of you. Oh, you guys are sweet. Let me see if I can see here. I'm not sure how to read. Oh, there we go. Now I can read some of your comments. Let me do that if I can. Ooh, that's me, not you. It would be emotional. Oh, yeah. I got motion sickness too. Yeah. I can vent. Oh, you guys are sweet. Altitude sickness. Yeah, is that a thing? That must be a thing. I moved from Wisconsin to Washington. Wow. Your experience is similar to mine. Wow, that's cool. The open road, one of my favorite places. Wow. Interesting. Car trips are so healing. Interesting. I just read the book, Bridgette, The Alchemist. Yeah. Hey, nice to see you. Thanks for showing up. Lucky you. Love road trips. Okay. All right, you guys. So I'm going to wrap up this episode of Sunday Morning Coffee with Bridgette. I'm grateful that if you stuck in here with me. Thanks. I finally feel like I can relax a little bit today. At least right now in this moment. Very much. Yeah. I'm not sure what I'm going to do now. I probably should have a little breakfast. I haven't really eaten anything. My eating schedule is all screwed up. But I did go and buy, when I went to the grocery store, I did go and buy some fresh veggies. So I'm going to eat that with the hummus I have left over from yesterday from the great falafel Greek shop across the street. I got falafel. Oh, so good. Yellow rice. It was really good. And hummus was really good. So I had hummus, so I kept it. I'm like, oh, keep this. I'm going to get some veggies and dip it in. So I'm going to have that, I think. I got some soup, which is good. And I have a salad I can eat. So I think I'm going to have that for breakfast, salad. So I hope you're doing well on this Sunday. This has been my adventure. I am not going to be home until Wednesday. So I will do probably another live stream or two on Instagram and or on Fairy Grasshopper, my YouTube channel. So we'll see. I don't know for Above Life channel if I'm going to actually do a channeling session tomorrow or not. I'm not sure. If I do, it might have to be live. So we'll see. I'm not sure timing wise. I think I can actually. I will have time during the day by myself. My sister will be at work. And if the dogs are mellow like they are right now, I could totally do a channeling. I'm not sure what to channel. Maybe I should do somebody around Washington State. That'd be interesting. We'll see. So, thank you so much for being here. I hope I've inspired your spirit today, filled you with some hope with my personal story of the road trip that I just went upon, and encouraged you to live your life. Even if you're on a road trip and you get car sick or altitude sick or whatever the heck it is. I hope that I've encouraged you to live your life, you guys. It's the drive. It is the opportunities and the circumstances that we're presented with and the situations that we're in where we can make our subtle choices. We can choose ourselves, love ourselves through that process. We can take advantage of the opportunities we have to show up. It's not even showing up like pushing or forcing. It's not like an adversarial thing. It's like a opportunity to work with whatever's showing up for us. Like this stuff, what can I make with this? What is this? How can this scenario or situation or life circumstance or event actually be good for me? How can this help me? How can this help me right here, right now? How can this help me? How can this enhance my life? Even if it's heavy, crappy, I hate driving. Even if it's that, even if it's intense emotionally, major separation from the family, or the dog dies, or you name it. Let me just tell you, I've probably been through it already. That's not something you need to find strength in. The point is when the circumstances or situations show up and arise for you, it's how you engage or relate to that. It's not about how you react. And I think a lot of people that says, well, it's all about how you react. You can control how you react. Well, how about we stop controlling things and just show up and be real and authentic with things as things are unfolding and say, what is this circumstance or situation? What does it got for me? Because it's got something. It might be to clear your stress so you can get angry and blow up and let off some steam. That might be the purpose of that bad driver or that crappy situation, or the motion sick might be the experience to slow your body down and feel the body. My body is such an oracle. It's been my journey. So all the stuff that happened to my body and the way my body physically reacted gave me information about myself. The more sensitive I am, it doesn't mean I'm weak or vulnerable. It means I am authentic. And I'm going to honor the authenticity that my body is brave enough to express and share with me. And that is my driving journey. that is mine. What is yours? You'll have plenty of opportunities, my friend. Trust. I know that. Mwah! Sending you so much love from a little bit of a dreary Washington today, but it's mellow here. And I really fit the vibe, let me tell you. I fit the vibe pretty well. So have a good day. Thanks for watching.